80s Project Zeorymer, also known as just Project Zeorymer in Japan, is a manga that was written in 1983 by Yoshiki Takaya, who is also responsible for Bio Booster Armor Guyver. You may be familiar with Guyver if you're around my age, though the last anime series dropped in 2005 and the OVA was made in 1989. The two live-action movies were like some sort of strange prototype for Spawn and were good Hollywood video fodder, not real Hollywood. Guyver played like a what-if Kamen Rider was super dark and gory in its way, which was kinda cool, but plays rather laughably in our more modern, enlightened age. Trust me, it's janky. Zeorymer was basically robot porno, which makes me wonder why it hasn't gotten a revival in recent years, but that was just how the manga played out. The 1988 anime is completely different and has nothing to do with the manga. Seriously, nothing is the same except the names and bots. Why did they slap this name on this product? It seems to me like if you're going to adapt something, at least have it attempt to relate. Though, given the amount of sexual content in the original, maybe they just didn't feel like making a porn. So let's just bin this dirty business where it belongs.
This particular OVA was brought over to the States by US Manga Corps. Nothing screams quality like this opening cut, right?
Hey, you're still around. Thought I replaced you with a Snorlax.
Yeah, negotiations fell through, and the Snorlax wanted to be paid scale. So here I am.
Well, far be it from me to argue with the legal team. Have fun with this one.
So our opening scene features who I'm assuming to be our protagonist getting beat up in a dark alley, while a mysterious girl watches. After taunting him for not being able to fight back against two grown men, she tells him Zeorymer is awakening. In a shockingly Super Sentai-like opening scroll, we learn that an Illuminati-style group called the How Dragon has created 8 robots to take over the planet, and that someone has hijacked the most powerful one, Zeorymer of the Heavens. The corporation, International Electronic Brains, is their shell, though they do a bad job of hiding it because no one really knows anything about said company. And the minute they start talking about it, one of the higher-ups says, "We don't need it anymore," and blows up the damn building. What the hell was the point of that? As it goes on, I can't help but ask, why is this DVD transfer so janky? It's like I'm watching it through cellophane. Ugh. At the How Dragon's base, the large four-headed Empress is addressing her subjects. They respond with about as much interest as someone listening to a lecture on the mating habits of snails. Looks like they cut those bangs a little too short, eh, Empress Yurite? After an info dump that I guarantee does not matter, as I've been given the order to get Zeorymer back, we move on from announcements to backstabbing and squabbling. At any rate, Masato is in solitary now. After his parents get paid for their services, just to increase the angst, I imagine, Masato slowly starts to go nuts. It's like a less family-friendly version of Ava, if that's possible. Miku, the mysterious girl, seems sad, but don't worry, it's cool. Once he goes full crazy, they'll let him choose between piloting a mecha or running for public office. Yurite takes one last trip to the Bone Zone with the pilot of Landstar, who's been tasked to retrieve Zeorymer. Hell of a way to break up, isn't it? Seriously, though, her forehead is giving me the heebie-jeebies. You could park a jet on that thing. We're probably supposed to care more about how sad the Empress is, but Masato, being more than a little unhinged now, gets to go for a ride. As you may imagine, now that he's a little unhinged, he tries to kill someone and jumps out of a car. Because this episode is running long, the plot opens up and swallows him into an underground base, where Zeorymer is being held. Apparently doubles as a chop shop because they parted out the world's most powerful robot. Just then Landstar attacks, and it's up to prototype Shinji Ikari to get the super robot and punch it into scrap. Miku, being the other pilot, mounts up as well. And it's time for the only reason anyone really remembers the show, the robot fights. Yes, while other anime have compelling characters or interesting plots, this one has robot battles on a very impressive scale. Sometimes that's enough, sometimes not so much. Masato knows how to pilot it, though he's the only one who finds this odd, which in itself is odd, but this whole OVA is kind of odd. So it's just odd all around. Odd. There's something darkly comical about someone who's seconds away from obliteration shouting, "I can't lose!" Landstar is disintegrated, and Masato has a completely understandable moment of losing his mind. That's episode 1. I'm still not sure if it's good, but it's at least amusing. The characters are about as interesting as paper cutouts, and the robot designs are ballsy. Maybe it'll flip my script as it goes forward. Masato learns he was created in a lab to pilot Zeorymer, and this does not make him particularly happy. I gotta say though, artificial conception? Not as weird as it used to be. It's always kind of funny seeing how far sci-fi has come into the regular world. Like when people thought a miniature computer was something you can carry on your back in Frederick Pohl's Man Plus. Anyway, the next two contenders against Zeorymer are twins who hate each other. Their super attack only works if they can cooperate, and that seems like a glaring oversight. Landstar was wind, these two are fire and water. Also skipping the next scene because everyone's naked in it and YouTube will flip its shit if that gets shown. Princess Big Forehead sends them out to fight, and at this point, I just want the robot fighting to happen. I haven't had nearly enough booze to care about these doomed morons. I find that there are two types of writing voices that come about in stories like these. The moody 16-year-old trying to force meaning, but really only having sex and violence. And the pro-writer who lets meaning stem from the actions on screen. This is definitely the latter, tell you that for free. Masato gets captured by Yurite and the Cranky Twins, and it's time for another info dump. Yurite was going to be the pilot of Zeorymer, and then Masaki Kihara turned traitor and stole it while blowing up the other mechs. The mechs of the How Dragon are only registered to one person, so why didn't they just make another one for her? Especially since it had 15 years to do it in, according to the timeline of the story. Story has form, but not function. Plot holes abound. As it stands, this just seems to be about a cranky rich girl who wants her toy back. Mika comes in and rescues Masato, who's understandably losing it, knowing he's got no bigger purpose than being a pilot. Also, Miku is probably not human because she no-sells getting kicked in the gut. I'm more interested in Miku's story than I am Masato's, no lies there. So now it's time to fight again, and Masato is having a bit of a moment. He's not crazy about killing people, and the whole area is littered with civilians. After a nasty knock to the head, he's much less worried about it, and the twins miss their team-up attack. Zeorymer has a teleport, by the way. Nerf, please. The now clearly bloodthirsty Masato takes on the two twins who can't get their act together. I'll let you put together how this ends. Worth noting that for as dull as the character designs are, the robot designs look great in motion, and nothing goes off model at all. But pretty will only get you so far, and take it from someone as foxy as me to tell you that. Masato isn't quite feeling himself. Miku walks out on him and gets captured, and the next mecha, Rose C'est La Vie of the Moon, shows up and gets in a tussle. Title screen could use some cleanup here. Woo boy, will you look at that. Without Miku to handle half the systems, Zeorymer isn't doing well. The poor DVD transfer really shows its ugly head here too, but that's technical problems that go with a medium still in its infancy. Ritsu, the pilot of Rose C'est La Vie, is a masked figure who's easily the best of the pilots, and does some pretty extensive damage to Zeorymer. I think Ritsu has the best design here too, because they don't show any skin or hair at all, so all the goofy problems the character designs have are completely covered over. After Rose C'est La Vie gets struck by lightning and fires off the biggest gun this anime has yet, Zeorymer's on the ropes. And then we get Ritsu's reveal. He's androgynous! Shock! Gasp! Horror! Wait, what? Apparently, Kihara made Ritsu look like a girl as a joke or something. So you're non-binary. That's not a bad thing. Honestly, with this art style, I couldn't even tell until Ritsu said something. Every one of the pilots has a weird hang-up or something quote-unquote wrong with them. It's kind of dumb. And by kind of, I mean really. Evil Masato reasserts control, teleports Miku, who is a robot by the way, back into the machine and teleports them away from the blast. He declares that he's Masaki Kihara, and then blasts Ritsu into ashes. One episode left, folks. Let's barrel through this bitch. Kihara has taken over Masato because of magic genetics, and now the How Dragon starts wrecking shop all over the world. Zeorymer is apparently sitting around with his thumb up his butt. Queen Forehead has the ability to nuke the whole planet, but reason is overriding her lack of clear judgment. The episode has a lot of boom and not much else in it. Saiga, the pilot of Omzak, heads directly for Zeorymer's base. Kihara keeps talking about how smart he is and starts pushing Miku around. Give that asshole a trilby because he's about 2 comments away from being a nice guy. Only after the base is half annihilated does Zeorymer come out to play. Masato and Kihara are fighting for control of the body, but the 3 remaining bots start fighting in between themselves before they get to killing Masato. He finally gets around to taking them out, and there's a large issue here that everyone's so busy being assholes that finding their deaths tragic or interesting is kind of impossible. Masato finally clears them all out, their personalities weirdly fused into a mopey kid with a body count of 7. Princess Big Forehead finds out that they were all made from Kihara's genetic tissue, and asks Masato to come and give her a suicide by mecha. The show ends with what always seems to happen in a series with this level of writing. A big explosion and goes, the end! So, that was Hades' Project Zeorymer, a series with great robot designs and nothing particularly interesting to say. The series sure was pretty, but for all that highfalutin talk they try to have, it's still just kind of junk sci-fi. His later and more famous work, Guyver, was a little bit more sensible, but it's got the same problem this show does. Great designs, lousy characterization, and in this show's case, pretty good animation. There are way better super robot shows out there, but this one is quick and dirty, and doesn't overstay its welcome. The illogical conclusion of the big boom at the end was really the only way it could have ended. So let's end ours with a big bang too!
Don't, actually blow up my show, please.
Fine. Jeez, never get to have any fun.
Unless you're the kind of gearhead who's lost their goddamn mind like I have, you probably don't need to pick this one up. But with a little digging on Right Stuff and Amazon, you can probably snap it up for under $15 for both discs. And of course, far be it from me to judge because I own it on VHS and DVD. That being said, this is Professor Otaku,
And Profette.
the greatest American anime critic, signing off.